Here are the basics to profiting with tax liens 101 basic edition for the newbies, for the beginners to get started so that you can have a safe, secure, predictable investment strategy through the wonderful world of tax lien certificates. So if you're just tuning in, there's a strong chance based on my surveys that I know you haven't done probably a real estate deal or a tax lien or a tax deed deal yet. So this is why we're here, is to help you get that first deal, finally get this business off the ground. And whether you're wanting to do liens or deeds or buying government seized properties, whether it's auction properties, over the counter deeds, or just going to like some of those government seized sites, which I've been making videos on, when you when you watch those drug dealer shows and you're like, man, whatever happened to all those properties? Well, the government seizes them and then they auction them off. And if you know where to buy those properties, it can be a really good time. So let's get into the basics, some of the basic questions here. So remember, a tax lien state is going to pay you anywhere, sometimes up to 8 to 36% interest. And in a tax lien state, remember, you're not actually buying the property, okay? The tax lien is a certificate that the government issues to you when you pay someone else's delinquent property taxes on their behalf, right? So why does the government do this? Why did they come up with that? Well, this business has been around 200 years, okay? So it's been around 200 years. And basically, it's one of the oldest forms of investing in real estate because basically the governments are like, hey, we need to pay for our roads, our school teachers, our fire trucks, all that infrastructure. Just gonna have a drink of water here. That's how you know this is a real live video. Is they need that money, right? So they count on it. And in tax lien states, they offer. So let's go through the tax lien states. What are the tax lien states? So you have from west to east. In the west, you're going to have Arizona, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and then Midwest, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. South Carolina is going to be a lien state. You're going to have Vermont as a lien state, New Jersey in there. You're also going to have Maryland, and then West Virginia and South Carolina, if I didn't mention that. Okay, so those are going to be your primary lien states. Now, the cool thing about a lien state is the fact that so much of this these days can be done remotely in a tax lien state because a lot of this stuff is online. Okay, so what you need to do is figure out, okay, which states am I interested in? And where do I want to go? First, you need to determine, do I live in a lien state or do I live in a tax deed state? Okay, so that's going to be one of the first things. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, there's liens, there's deeds. Which one should I get started with? And my answer to this is, first off, see where you live, okay? Do you live in a lien state? Do you live in a deed state? Regardless, it's time to start understanding the process, what's in your backyard, right? From there, if my recommendation with liens is you should have at least 5 to 10 grand that you're okay being tied up for a little while, right? So if you want to be quitting your job as fast as possible through tax lien and deed investing, you're probably going to want to start with the tax deeds because you can buy a tax deed super cheap for as little as 50 bucks. You can take that 50 bucks, you could sell it for 1,000. You can take that, buy $1,000 deed, sell it for 5,000, 10,000. Buy a $10,000 deed, sell that for 20, 30, 40,000. Take that 40,000, buy something, sell it for 50 to 100,000, and away you go. Because the real home runs can really happen with the tax lien certificates. Because first off, you're getting a secure interest rate that's secured by real estate, right? You're getting a secure return. It's mandated by the government, okay? So it can be anywhere between 8 to 36% for your property. Bear with me. Our lighting's going bad. I need to fix that lighting. There we go. Reflections in the mirror. That's a little better. So what's going to happen? You're going to get that interest rate, which is great. The power of compound interest compared to inflation, it's going to be awesome. But where you can really get those big home runs with tax liens is with the properties that don't actually redeem. Okay. So check it out. Property taxes on average could be like let's call it 1% of the total value of the property. So if you have a property or where the average home prices are $1,000, or sorry, $1,000, average home prices are $100,000. Okay. So if the average home price is 100 grand, that means on average, maybe those property taxes are around $1,000 a year. Now extrapolate that. If home prices are 300 grand, maybe taxes are $3,000 to $5,000 per year. Regardless, this is how you can really get those big home runs, because tax liens are safe, secure, and predictable, meaning 95% of the time you're going to get that interest rate. However, the 5% of the time where where they don't redeem, because people are always saying, well, what happens if they don't redeem? Well, that's where you get like some of the biggest home runs. And I call them like a life-changing freedom deal, because everybody that I know that does this business, they make money. They just have to stick with it and be consistent. Just do it. One of the guys on our calls today, he's in California. Every month he flies out to Georgia. Georgia's a redeemable deed state, but every month he goes out there and he's buying property for a couple grand, which is awesome. And I was like, hey man, what did it take? He's like, honestly, I just get on a plane and I just do it. Somebody should use that as a tagline. Just do it. So he's going out to Georgia. He's getting these properties and he's doing great. Now, like I was saying, where you can really start to make this big money is when these liens don't redeem. However, you need to be okay with that money just sitting there for a little while. So let's go back to our example. You start with some deeds. You now have, I want to say, say you got 50 grand. Okay. We're going to take $20,000. We're going to put that into 20 $1,000 liens on $100,000 houses. Okay. So that means there's 20 grand tied up. Now, this is where it gets fun. You're going to get, 18 to 36% interest, depending on where you are, on 19 of those liens. Okay. And we're like, okay. And this is where people say, well, what happens if they don't redeem? Well, this is where it gets fun, because if they don't redeem, that's where you get the property. Now, remember back in the day, there was those infomercials like, I got this $100,000 house for just $300. It was a bit misleading. It wasn't quite like that. And the reason it's misleading, I've never seen a $100,000 property with a $300 tax. Okay. Normally it's around that 1 to 1.5% mark. So you took your 20 grand, you bought 20 liens. Now you wait probably 3 years. And during that time, your liens will redeem. You'll make that interest rate, which is awesome. Take that money, buy more liens, keep rolling it over. And at the end of 3 years, your $20,000 is going to turn into well over, could be 100,000, because the one property that doesn't redeem, remember 95% of the time, that means 1 in 20, that's where you're going to foreclose on the property. And if it's worth 100 grand, remember, we have one year taxes 1,000. It's probably went 2 or 3 more years. So it could be 3 to 4 years. Let's just call it $4,000 in taxes need to be paid out. From there, hire an attorney. It's going to be another $1,000 to $2,000. They'll do the foreclosure process. So call it all in $5,000 to get yourself a $100,000 property. That's why this business, there really is absolutely nothing like it out there. There's all sorts of different real estate methods. This real estate method has been around over 200 years. It's not going anywhere. I absolutely love it. And it helps you get into real estate as a beginner. You could go out today and buy a tax lien within the next hour here today. Right now, Arizona has properties that's just sitting there. You can go and you can start. And even to make it easier, like I mentioned, I give you guys all of the contact information. I have the tax lien and deed directories for you with all of the phone numbers. So you can just go to, let's say Mississippi, or where else you want to go here. Let's say you want to go to Missouri. Boom, I got all the phone numbers. You can just give them a call and say, hey, when's the sale? What do you have left over for liens? And you can buy these things for just super dirt cheap prices, which is why I love the liens. So it looks like some folks are joining us. If you have some questions, pop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. While you have me live, I'd be happy to answer some questions. So the biggest thing is to just get started. And one of the best steps to getting started is see where you live right now. Okay. So where do you live right now? Are you in a lien state or a deed state? But regardless, go down to the county office and get familiar with it. What I'm after here, and the whole premise of this channel, is to teach you the philosophy of how this stuff works so that you can go anywhere. So go down to the county office and get your hands in the mud. Go into the records office, go into the maps office. Back in the day, we'd pull out those big maps, you put them on the table, you see what's going on, you click around on the county computer. It's super fun. And you want to practice. I've been using like the sports analogies lately. as far as you watch sports, right? You're familiar with sports teams and all these different cities, all these different players. Get familiar, treat each one of these like a sports team, right? Let's say we're in Indiana. Let's treat it like a sports team. Let's go to Clark County, Indiana, like a sports team. Let's get the stats, right? What's the population? How many liens do you guys have there? And then take action. Let's see. Sean is saying here, how much is the book? So I have a bunch of these books, and they are totally free 99.com. So I used to sell these books and all that sort of stuff, but now I just give it away. The lien directory, the deed directory, all of that is in the description below to help you guys get started. It'll show you where to go, what to do, all that sort of stuff. Someone's like, well, why is the book for free? Back in the day, I've sold like probably 50,000 people have bought this book. Now what I do is I just give it all away. And then from there, every month we just work with like a couple mentoring students. So if you guys wanted help or some one-on-one mentoring, there's a link below in the description there, and we can chat about mentoring if that's something you're interested in as well. So coming back to some questions here. Let's see. There's a question. Just moved to California, a little different. Let's see. Moved to California, a little different than Florida and Texas. Yeah, totally. So definitely different than Florida because California is a deed state. However, there's like a 1-year redemption period in California. But if you work with a company, it's called Tax Title Services. If you buy the deed, they can get you like a clear title generally within 60 to 90 days so that you don't have to wait that 1-year redemption period. So Texas is one of my favorite spots because every single month they have auctions. It's a 6-month redeemable deed state, meaning you get the property. If it's vacant, you can rent it out. You can do stuff. You just can't sell it for 6 months. But if they redeem you, it is a 25% interest rate. Now, Florida is a unique goose because Florida does both tax liens and deeds. And Florida is a little different because if you buy a tax lien in Florida, what happens, generally one of the big benefits of a tax lien is if they don't redeem, you foreclose, you get the property. Except in Florida, government's greedy out there in Florida because in Florida, if it doesn't redeem, you can't foreclose. It goes to a tax deed sale. So you could attempt to buy it at the deed sale, but so can other people as well. So keep that in mind for Florida. All right. Let's see. What's the cheapest state to buy starting off? So not necessarily the cheapest state. You want to find some of the smaller counties. Like, for example, when I started, man, I found some smoking deals in like North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of the smaller counties in some of these places, like $50 to $100 properties. Super fun way to get started with some of those. Let's see here. Looking at the next question. What do we got here? Is buying the repository list in Pennsylvania good? I've seen some properties that are worth $15,000 to $20,000 going for $250. Yeah, so get that list. You have to look at it, right? Sometimes they'll say, they're all junk properties, and some of them might be, but there's plenty of diamonds in the rough that slip through the fingers. Like we were just on one of the Arkansas sites here earlier today. There was a $2,000 property worth like $20,000, just boom, available right now. Have you purchased in Pennsylvania? Yeah. We've actually done quite a lot in Philly because they do auctions every month. Philly is a great spot to get property. So we've done, I don't know, at least maybe 30 to 50 properties there. I'd have to check my memory bank, but we've done a lot there. Philly is a really good spot to get started. Let's see. Been looking in Arizona. Awesome. What's the easiest ways to find properties over the counter? Yeah. So remember, when the liens don't sell, they go to what's called an over the counter. And the nice thing with these over-the-counter properties is if they're more than like 3 to 4 years old, you can buy them and start foreclosing immediately, which is sweet. So you can really speed up that process. One of our students just bought a $390,000 tax lien. The property's worth like $7 million. So it was an over-the-counter. They're getting an immediate 16% interest on it. And it's awesome. So this business, you could have $39 and buy a tax lien, or you could have $390,000 and have a tax lien. So that's what's so great about this business. And the same principles and tactics that you get into on a $39 tax lien are literally the same types of philosophy and principles that you'd use on a $390,000 property. So Ronald's in Philly. Awesome, man. You should be going to that auction every single month. Okay. So you should be going every single month to that auction just to learn. And then from there, start to purchase. So once again, somebody's saying, how do I get the book? How do we get the book? All that sort of stuff. But before we do, make sure to thumbs up if you like this stuff. Subscribe if you've been following along. And as far as the training and all that sort of stuff goes, we have the national directory, all of the mini course, all of this stuff, like I mentioned, is totally free in the description below. This is what you need. Like if you're going to go to these sales, I have in here all of the property questionnaires that you need to go through. Like, and this came to be from when I got started. Like, these are the questions that I would ask, right? Like, you know, the county, the state, what's the interest rate? When is the sale held? When is the auction? What time does it start? What form of payment? Is the full amount due after the auction immediately? How do I get the current list of properties? Who's in charge of the properties? Where is the property? Where is the auction? You know, all of this stuff is in here and it'll just walk you through it. So if you click the description, you can grab that. There's a link in the description. It's totally free to get started. It'll walk you through it. I think I have like maybe 400 reviews now, people just loving this training. So go ahead, check that out as well. Let's see. We got a comment here. Arkansas, man, the COSC is so good. Some of the properties are going for super cheap, like 100 to 300 bucks. Yeah, totally. They're worth $2,000-3,000 raw land. We were just talking about this earlier today. There's tons of these properties right now. Like, you guys need to be buying these properties. They're dirt cheap. Buy it for a couple $100, sell it for $2-3 grand. Away you go. Sure, you'll have to, you know, put in some elbow grease, but what's the alternative, right? This is a business where you can start with some elbow grease, get some deals, and really build yourself up. I love it. It's awesome. Does Philly do over the counter? Most of the time, because there's a monthly sale, they just roll it into the next sale the next month. So places that do like monthly sales, a lot of the times you won't find that many over the counter. Okay. Let's see. Is it better to purchase an individual or an LLC? So obviously I'm not a lawyer or tax, you know, that whole disclaimer, but it's really easy. Like if you're just getting started as a beginner, generally most people just buy in their personal name. And then as you get more property, you can go ahead and put it in an LLC. It's better to just get started out of the gate. So the moral of the story, there's properties. You need to be doing this. There's millions of tax liens. It's one of the best businesses to get into. I know if you're watching this, you probably haven't taken action, and just take action. Tomorrow, grab this tax lien directory, pick your state, get on the phone, start calling them. And then the next step is super easy. You just print off this little thing here, the tax lien evaluation research, tax lien or deed. You fill this out for every single county. You're going to be up. You're going to be running. That's in the description below. And from there, like I say, if you want some like one-on-one help with this stuff, we're here to help you as well. So that's why I give these books and things like that away now, is because basically what I do is every month we mentor a few people. We help them out. So if you want some one-on-one help with this stuff, in the description below, you can click a link, you can book a call. We'll have a conversation with you. We can see if maybe it's a fit to do some one-on-one mentoring, give you a game plan, save you some time, save you some money, just tell you where to go, what to do, what not to do. So that is below in the description as well. So go ahead and check that out. Okay. Last question. Do you recommend buying certificates or deeds? So good question. I'd mentioned this a bit earlier. If you have less than 10 grand, start with deeds. Okay. From there, make yourself a few, 50, 20, 30 grand, then put 20 grand into tax liens, because that money will be tied up for a little bit. But if you buy 20 liens on $1,000 liens on $100,000 properties, you'll turn that 20 grand into well over 100 grand with the properties that don't redeem. Okay. Let's see here. The Shelby County Land Bank, amazing properties in Memphis. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah. $200-300 properties in Memphis, scoring the market. Imagine owning these plots. Yeah, guys, these properties are everywhere. They are everywhere. You just need to know where to go and where to start. Appreciate the comments, you guys sharing this sort of stuff. And yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take some action. And once again, you can grab this in the link below. Check it out. Book a call if you want to speak with us. I would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. We got some really fun videos coming out. We're doing one on Puff Daddy's home as well, if it's going to be seized. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.